Alright guys, I am going to talk about a couple things. This is on the PTS. This is for some of the perks. We're going to go over the secondaries, okay? So we're going to go over these 4 secondaries. I think there's a couple other secondaries. For some of the other classes maybe, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, you got the Infernal Pistol. I haven't checked that one out yet. So I can only give my opinion on the other ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the perks that I would change. And these are going to be some of the perks that I would change because I just don't think they're in a good spot right now. And I think this will help them out in general for pretty much all of the guns. I'm going to do the other weapons as well. The next I'll do melee weapons. But right now we'll just start off with the Plasma Pistol. So the Plasma Pistol in the perk tree, something that I think could use a change. We're going to mostly be talking about the Relic ones, the last perks. Because I just don't think they're good enough for being the last perks. But so far right now, this is the only one out of the 4 weapons that have something that I think needs to be changed, which is the blast radius in the Artificer tree. Now, why do I say that? Because why do you need 2 blast radius? It doesn't make sense. In my opinion, you should change that to only having 1. It should be 1 blast radius, and it should be 20%, not 10%. So make this one or this one 20%, and then make a new perk replacing the one that you're getting rid of, okay, and make it a new perk that gives you a 20% radius for the next charge shot you do after a gun strike. So it's only for charge shots, and it's after you do a gun strike. So you'll have an extra technically 40% increase to your radius, which I think will be really good for the Plasma Pistol. And this will also help and will really go together really good with the next perks for the Relic tree, which is instead of charged cooling, you'd have charged strike, making all gun strikes charged shots to do damage to nearby enemies, which would be really good, don't you guys think? And then this one, the next one, you would replace Divine Might with Divine Fortress, increasing damage by 20% after a gun strike for the next 10 seconds, and you will not lose control upon taking heavy hits and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now that's what I would do personally if I was in charge of, the perks for these weapons. Whoops. My headset fell off. Now, the next one we'll do is the Volkite Pistol. Now, pretty much everything is pretty good. Most of the perks, they could be a little bit better, but I'm mostly going to talk about the Relic perks, okay? So, these ones are pretty good, but we're going to talk about these ones right here. So, you would replace both of these, Volkite Discharge and Violent Deflagration, and the only thing you would change is you would have, after killing a Majoris, an Extremis, and a Terminus level enemies, it would go from an extra 30% for each increase of threat level. So for Majoris, it would be a 30% increase. For Extremis, it would be a 60%, and Terminus, it would be a 90% increase for 10 seconds. And for this one, since it's the cooldown is a lot, or the duration is a lot shorter, it would double up the duration. So it would go for Majoris, it would be 4 seconds, and then Extremis, it would be 4 seconds, and then Terminus, it would be 8 seconds. And it would be also a 30%, 60%, and 90% increase, which I think that would help out this a lot as well, and it would give you an incentive to kill higher level enemies to get that huge buff, and it would also help out on higher difficulties for a lot of people. So that's what I would do with the Volkite pistol. And now we're going to go over to the heavy bolt pistol. Now, for tactical precision, what I would change is pretty much keep it the same, except after doing a gun strike, for 2 seconds, it doubles the buff, or doubles the perk. So for 2 seconds after a gun strike, you'll deal 40% damage instead of 20 for headshots, but non-headshots will do 20% less damage. So that would be the trade-off. And that only activates for 2 seconds after gun strike. And then this perk, the next one, instead of Divine Might, it would be replaced with a perk called Roulette, giving you 1 to 3 bullets randomly placed in the magazine with a 100% damage increase and can penetrate up to 1 additional target. So I think that would be really good. It makes sense since it's the heavy bolt pistol, and it's not too overpowered because it's only 1 to 3 bullets, which is less. It's around 20 to maybe 25% to less than 10% of your magazine, depending on if you have the magazine increases right here, and depending on whether you get 1, 2, or 3. And it's a 100% damage increase for those shots. And I don't know, you could maybe give an indicator or not, or just keep it completely random, and keep it a surprise. And that would, I think, be a really good addition. And now for the bolt pistol. Now the bolt pistol, you would replace honed precision with divine precision. After a gun strike, all headshots on Minoris enemies are a one-shot kill for 10 seconds. Cooldown 15 seconds. Now, if you want to balance this out, you could make it so that if you miss a shot, or if you that's not a headshot, it removes the buff. But I don't think that's really going to be necessary, because most Minoris enemies, if you shoot them in the head, they're going to be a one-shot kill. Not all of them, most of them, especially on lower difficulties. Some of them that aren't one-shot kills are some of the Tyranid enemies, the Minoris ones with the guns. Sometimes they're not one-shot headshot kills. Some of the Chaos enemies are not one-shot kills, like the jackal-looking guys with the horns. I forget their names. But yeah, so I think that'd be really good. It fits with the headshot bonuses that you'd get throughout the top tree. And the next one, this one I think is a really good perk choice. You'd replace Divine Might with Divine Retribution. Now they have a similar perk for one of the weapons in the game, and what it would do, it would make gun strikes increase the damage the enemy takes by 20% for 5 seconds. Now you could increase the amount of seconds, but I think 5 seconds is pretty balanced, to be honest. And that would increase the damage for all damage. Hold on. For all damage by 20%, so grenades and all your teammates and everything they do, which I think is a good buff, a good perk, and I don't think it's super overpowered necessarily. It's basically like a mini scan from the tactical, and it's only a 20% damage increase. It's not like a huge amount, and most of the time when you get your gun strikes, it's on the Minoris enemies when you're meleeing them, when you do a heavy attack and you knock them back, or when you do like a perfect parry on minorus enemies or some extremist enemies, or even on a terminus, or you're mostly going to have to end up actually doing perfect dodges if you want to get those gun strikes on like the larger enemies, like a terminus. It's going to be a lot easier to do a perfect dodge to get that 20% damage increase. And that's it for the perk changes that I would personally change, and I think personally are much better than the generic basic perks that you get at the end of all the weapons. Now this is just my ideas that I literally came up with within like 20 minutes. Like, I literally came up with this shit like off the top of my head. It literally didn't take me that long. And honestly, I think developers who work on this sort of stuff day in and day out, like all day, every day, it's their career. I think personally it should be a lot easier for them to come up with more interesting perks for the players, you know, especially perks that, you know, you want to work towards getting the last perk at the end of the tree, you know, because it should be like the best one, right? Instead of like some generic thing that just gives you 10% damage, which is the same one you get at the beginning of the tree. Well, at least not for this one, but for like some of them, like this one right here, 10% damage. It's like, it's the same one you get right here. It's so generic. Like, I would have liked to them to be a little more creative and come up with something like this. And honestly, personally, I don't care if they want to take these ideas and put them in the game. Like, they don't even have to give me credit. I don't even care. I would just like to see more creative perks at the end of these trees, personally. You know, and I think if you look at like pretty much what most games do, the last perk is normally always the best perk. It just makes sense for any type of game. And I'm gonna be doing a like changes for the perks, what I think they should be for all the weapons. So I did secondaries right now because there's only 4. It's really easy. I'm gonna do melee weapons next, and then I'll do primaries after. And but I think for primaries, it's going to be a little more difficult because there's so many weapons, there's so many primaries. Like, this is just the ones that you see for. So I'm probably, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do primaries for depending on the class. So I'll do tactical, sniper, and heavy, because I'm pretty sure Vanguard, he uses the same weapons as the tactical and the sniper. So pretty much they're pretty much interchangeable. So yep, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching, and hope you guys liked my ideas.